Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Automating the Trades. We are here with Jacob, our president at the Graphite Lab. My name is Natalia. In this webinar, we're going to talk through some of our live customer problems. We have a handful of problems ready to go. These are problems that typical businesses in the trades may encounter. We're going to be walking through some different automations utilizing Zapier, as well as our advanced set of tools to solve these problems. Jacob, a few problems that some of our customers or other general trades businesses have submitted, and then you can walk us through how you would solve those live. Does that sound good?
Thank you so much, Natalia. I'm very excited to hop into these.
Someone submitted, they said, we have an issue where the phone numbers in our system are marked as a landline or a mobile number, but they are not marked correctly. This is causing issues when trying to chat with customers or use Marketing Pro in ServiceTitan. Do you have an idea of how to solve that one?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very common issue that we run into where basically inside of any ERP system, oftentimes something that can happen is that customers, as your CSRs, are working inside of the database. There could be issues where there's data inconsistencies because they're typing a lot of stuff in, they're busy, and they might not even know what the phone number is that they're interfacing with. You could be coming from a legacy system where it didn't keep track of different types of phone numbers. You could just be on the phone and don't want to ask whether it's a mobile phone or a landline. And so we actually have a thing inside of our toolbox that allows us to identify this. One of the key considerations inside of our system is our triggering event. And so with Zapier, one of the major things in Zapier that a lot of people don't think about is as a thing happens and we want to trigger off of that thing. It's not great for bulk data tasks, but it's very good for reactionary features. And so in this situation, we're not going to be handling this in bulk, but what we're going to be doing is as information becomes relevant, we're going to be testing it in our system. So that's basically what we're going to do here. What we're going to do is we're going to run off the same query jobs. I'm going to reuse the Zap for us. Instead of having the job on hold, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and clear that selection. And what we're going to do is do it off of created on. One of the major things that you should think about when doing date triggers inside of Zapier is that you want to reduce that window of possible records as small as humanly possible. And so oftentimes people just be like anything created before right now. That one of the major problems with that is in the back end, there might not be order like you think it will. Basically, what's happening behind the scenes is it's going to get 100 records that match your query. And it's going to do that every minute or so until it finds a new record inside of those 100 records. What it's not going to do is get every single record in your database that matches it. And so the problem with that is we want to trigger off of this. This is a really big problem people run into with their Zap's not running, because if I say anything before right now, a new job might be number 250 on the list because it's not necessarily ordered by a certain date type. So what we want to do is try to make this as small as possible. In this workflow, we're going to say anything created before right now, and then anything created before now minus 15 in. And minus 15 m means anything 15 minutes ago. And so basically this is going to reduce that window down to a really small margin. One of the things to note about this as well is how often your Zaps are polling. So depending on your Zap plan, you might want to increase this a little bit. A lot of people do 1H, which is 1 hour. Anything in the last hour that has a created on date in the last hour, we'll go ahead and use that. So that's what we're going to do. When we pull in a record, I haven't recently created a job because we're using a test environment. So I'm just going to continue to use this hold query. The second thing that we're going to do is we are actually pulling in the standard ServiceTitan Zapier app that's just off the shelf. You will receive the customer ID and the location ID. But if we're thinking about the actual contact details available to us, those are sub values of a location and a customer. And so if inside the standard ServiceTitan Zapier app, all you have is the ID. So you'd have to do a search step for customers, a search step for customer contacts. It'd be the same thing for locations. So we're talking 4 action steps before we can even begin reviewing contact details. But what we can do here instead, because we have our own Zapier app that we've developed for our customer workflows, we populate all sorts of information about the job, including the customers, the customer contact details, the customer's custom fields. So you can see all of that's populating now. We can actually immediately jump into a loop step. I'm going to clear out these items from our last build. All right. So what we're going to do is immediately hop into a loop step. A loop step lets us iterate over line items. Line items inside of Zapier are anytime you'll have many entities with the same values coming through. For instance, a customer might have many contacts. We'll loop through line items. We want to loop on contact, value, contact ID, and contact. Our customer contact values are right here. Our customer contact IDs. So we've got those there. Then what you do is just click continue, test, and you'll notice that this is basically going to create a loop of all of these comma separated values. So you'll see it's determined that there's two loops, but what you'll see here is that it's going to give us the information for the first value in the loop. Now in production, each of these loop steps will trigger everything else in the Zapier workflow from this step. So what we're going to do here is immediately add in a filter step. We want to make sure that we are not triggering off of any emails. We're going to make sure that the type does not contain email. So this is a very common mistake. We want to make sure that we're not clicking from the array. We want to actually do contact type because that's the loop value. So you'll see it is not email. And then we're going to go ahead and use our toolbox to come in and test it. So you'll see one of the tools that we have here is a phone number verification tool. And what it will do is go get that phone number and it will determine details about it. It'll do its best to track that. What we're going to do is we're going to do filter. We're going to do from our loop, scroll all the way down, and you'll see our contact value is that phone number. And what it's going to do is it's going to run a test on that phone number to determine what kind of a phone number is it. So you'll see here, it was pretty quick, but it is a valid phone number. We have different types of values coming through here. If it's a mobile phone number, it'll say mobile. If it's a non-fixed VoIP, basically that is a fax machine. In addition to that, it can also say landline. So there's a variety of different things that can come back. But what we're going to do is test this. We can set up a filter step. And what we can do is set up 3 conditions. So the first condition is this contains mobile. And in ServiceTitan, the contact value type does not contain mobile, which is one of ServiceTitan's different types. Or the phone number contains, and what we've got here is non-fixed VoIP. So what we'll do is I'll just go ahead and copy that so I don't mess up the text. Non-fixed VoIP, and the type does not contain fax because we'll want that to be a fax number. The third thing we'll be testing for is whether or not it's a landline. What this filter step does is it runs a variety of different tests. If the value coming out of the line type intelligence does not match the value that is in ServiceTitan, that's a problem, and continue. And so what we'll do is go ahead and click continue. And you'll see this would not have continued because it is actually correct. That is a fax number. So we'll go ahead and click continue. And then at this stage, you can set up any kind of a notification you want. You can notify somebody. You can go ahead and fix it inside of ServiceTitan. You can go ahead and set up a notification to somebody. You can create a task management task because maybe you don't want to change things right away. So there's a variety of different ways that you can handle the actual output of this. But this is how you would go about setting up the test itself.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. Cool. Everyone watching, if you are interested in getting any of these problems solved for you and your business, please feel free to reach out. Our contact form is always in the description as well as in our bio. We'd be more than happy to hop on a call and chat through how we can help you out with problems like this and other ones too.